Some of the best advice I can give to somebody who wants to work with a local creative or myself is, you're trying to capture their story and what they want. And so I came up with a byline of like, your story, my art. And I'm trying to help tell their story through the way I do my illustration and my design and creativity. And so I want them to come in, knowing that I'm gonna try to make something that they'll love, but also want them to know it's a collaboration process. Not just like, hey, can you make this for me? I want them to be involved through the whole process as we, make it and build it together. And so coming in with that open mind, knowing it's also my particular art style, whoever they're using, but also knowing that we're trying to, capture what they want to be told. And there's a reason probably why they're hiring me or other designers is for things we've done in the past. So just knowing those things, and as an owner, you gotta be ready to give and take, because it's like a working together process. And it's, we're trying to make something that you'll love and want to put on everything. We're not trying to like hold you back and give you a crappy logo or design or product. We're trying to really help you have something that you're gonna be proud of and want to put on everything. And that like, this is me, this is who I am, this is what we made together. If you want to be a creative and get started in doing kind of similar things I'm doing or more like others, it's a lot of work. You got to love it and want to do it. You got to be willing to take the blows and to take the highs. And also the most important one is to surround yourself with an honest community. So my wife and my best friends, they know they can tell me like, oh man, this is not working, or this isn't you, or you can do a lot better. Have one buddy the other day is like, I think you phoned this one in. You need people to tell you that, but also you got to be able to take it. It's two different things. A lot of people want that, but they can't take it. And for me, as I get it, every once in a while you get that burn, but you realize like, you know what, this is gonna make me better. This is gonna get me into the next best opportunity. And also these people have eyes and minds that are seeing it in a different way than I'm seeing it. And so just because I love it doesn't mean it's the greatest thing. And I even learned through this that some of my favorite products I put out, nobody likes. It's like I'm the only one that enjoys that thing. So, and the things that I like the least, or I feel like I didn't put, the heart as much as other things, is what people tend to love and attract to. So you got to learn to accept that, but you need that community that you can let them be honest with you, and you got to take that critique and build off of it. You can't just like, you know what, I'm done, whatever, forget it. That's not going to get you there. And it's just being consistent. So every day I'm doing a warm-up sketches, I'm doing drawings, just something to get me revved up. I'm also just doing research and looking at, you got to put the work in there, and you got to want to do the work. It's just for people who work out or do exercise or things like that. You can't just do the row machine once and then like, it's every day, or, however the routines go. But so for me, it's just consistency, keep going at it. And if you get those blows, just take it as a learning lesson, get back up and go after it. And I feel like I've got a great community that I love, and my family and my best friends have just given some, phenomenal advice. I think that if I didn't listen and take it in, I wouldn't be where I am today. I do a lot of pop-up markets all over St. Pete, Tampa, Lakeland, Orlando. And you just never know who you're gonna meet there. And so I try to have the best and brightest looking booth. And I just try to realize that you never know who you're gonna cross paths with. So at my booth, this guy came by one day and he's looking at my stuff and he's like, hey, can you bring some samples by our store? I'm like, yeah, man, who are you? And he hands me his card. He's one of the lead designers at West Elm. And I'm like, West Elm, that's, my wife and my sister-in-law, one of their favorite stores. So at these markets, we put everything we have into it. We just know this could be, one chance opportunity for who we meet, who we cross. And we put a lot of time into our hats and our merch and our mugs, and it's caught the eyes of a lot of different people, and it's been able to give us some amazing opportunities. And West Elm was one of those opportunities. And now my mugs are in all their Florida stores. But we never thought that, something that level would happen. We just thought we would sell some, we'd meet some cool people. It's just learning to constantly be evolving what you have, but also trying to bring in, the best of what you have to these things. And so it's been paying off for us doing the markets. And, again, we're shocked that West Elm, Starbucks, and many others have come through, saw our stuff at this place, and just, bigger, better opportunities. Yeah, so finding value in yourself and your working project is really hard, because as a creative, it's hard to put a number, a certain number on our things. My first house portraits, I was selling for $20 or $30. Now they're starting at $200. And the only reason I got there wasn't hey, I'm worth this, I'm gonna keep raising the prices. It took some people in my life to say, hey, let's double your prices. And it was the scariest thing in the world. I was fortunate to meet John Acuff, a motivational speaker and author and New York Times bestseller, and we got to do a few little projects together. And one day he texted me, he's like, hey man, I'm gonna post one of your things on my social media. I want you to go to your website before I do that and double your prices. I'm driving. I almost wrecked with my wife. I'm like, he wants me to double my prices. Nobody's gonna pay that. Like, I'm nervous to even put the price it has now. And he's like, just do it. So we did it, and sure enough, after that post, within like those couple days of that post going out, I had like 30 or 40 like big commission orders just because of that suggestion. And so sometimes you got to take those big scary steps and trust that people are telling you. I mean, since then, he's told me to do it 3 more times. And we've done it, and it's just been crazy. So a lot of times now, before I put a rate or a price on stuff, I kind of feel out what other people think. And even like when I'm doing like murals, sometimes you have to charge by the hour or charge by the square footage. And you got to talk to other people and see where they're going. And it's tough to talk numbers, it's tough to talk money, but you're worth it. You got to like, people are buying and wanting it, then it's, you got to do it and got to follow that. So when I get a chance to work with a client, or I get a commission or an opportunity to come talk to somebody, you want to come in like, I'm this, but also I want to be me, because I've never been that type of person. I've always been into punk rock and skateboarding. I've always had an issue with authority. I'm always the guy that's bucking the system. That's just how I work. So I just like try to keep all that in mind, but also I realize like they want to hire me for my services. I have a really cool opportunity coming my way. So I also want to be respectful of that they want to talk. So just kind of like taking all that in for a second, taking a deep breath, and just, I'm just gonna go in and be me. So just kind of like having all these like mental thoughts as you go in to pitch what you're trying to sell, because, why would I want to buy what I'm selling? What are some things that are gonna attract me to it? And so trying to like do that, but in my way, my style, instead of trying to like use words I wouldn't normally use or have a swagger that I don't normally have. And that's, again, just coming from people I know, the support system, family and friends, and just trying to own what you have. So when I kind of tell my story, how I got started, I use that phrase, owning my town, for instance, owning Lakeland. So the story is when me and my wife were engaged, one Christmas, I had no money for gifts for her and her family. So I made her a kid's book. I just made my own little one-of-a-kind book and gave it to her. And she kind of knew like art and writing and things were like an area I wanted to do. So she gave me a book on how to become a successful illustrator and children's author. And the book told the story of how there's 2 ways of going about it. One way is just the hard way, just sending in all your work, all your info to editors, publishers, agents, and just hoping, like playing the lottery, that you'll get discovered and they'll put your book out. The other one, it says, is just, until then, own your town. Just put as much work in your town and just do as much as you can, get involved with the community and do things, because hopefully that'll help with your name and your growth. And when people are looking for an artist or somebody local, you'll be there. So with my artwork, I just started teaming up with like a lot of businesses here in Lakeland. I started doing my own series of Lakeland landmarks. I started offering house portraits, and just all these different things started to build up and work for me. And then different little business, like, oh, I saw you did this shirt for somebody, or I saw you did this coffee mug, or you did their hats. And soon, like, I've been blessed to have a lot of things done in Lakeland, and then started getting into the whole mural game like everybody else. And so that's now led to me doing businesses and jobs throughout the country, and a few out of the country, which has been awesome. But there's been opportunities I never thought I'd have, but I took the time and just focused on Lakeland, focused on Polk County. And now I'm doing things like Georgia, California, Virginia, New York. It's just things you never thought you get to work with, and out of place. The way I found my style is like most creatives, you try everything. Like I was painting, I was doing woodworking, I was making furniture, I was drawing, all the different things a creative would want to do, and you see other people doing it. But I just noticed like I was having a hard time getting traction and having a, not an identity crisis, but you're just kind of like having a hard time. People are like, well, do you do this or that? What are you? What's your style? And like most people, I had a few design heroes I followed online and on social media. And so I started, DMing them like, hey, any advice, any tips, any suggestions? And so one of my favorite designers, his name's Andy J. Miller. He has a podcast called Creative Pep Talk. He just like, hey man, you've messaged me a lot. Let's do a Skype for like 2 hours. This is before Zoom. I'm like, all right, man. And what we did is we just went through all my stuff. But what we did is we just went through all my everything. He's like, all right, what do you hate? What are you not comfortable with? And as most people know, color's not how I identify or think about things, but I know people like it. So he's like, all right, let's cut that out. Let's not show that off. And then he's like, what are your favorites? So we just kind of narrowed down to like 12 of our favorite things I've done, and like, let's make this your main, direction, your route. And so that kind of helps shape what I can do and what I will do. I mean, as a creative, we can kind of do it all, or we want to do it all, but sometimes you got to hone it in and own a certain thing. So for me, like my hand-drawn pen and ink is my style. Black and white is my main thing I love to do. That's how I think. That's how I always just imagine and daydream. And so that's kind of how we got that direction. But cutting things out is hard to do because you want to offer and put these out there, but if you want to make this your living, you want to provide for your family, you got to sometimes put some stuff on the back burner. And I still create in painting and colors and all that, but that's kind of like a personal on my own time, and I dabble in it, but I've kind of, yes, people can see through my style, I've been able to develop, my identity through my style and my aesthetics and my art.